Are you tired of unengaging movies and streaming services? Well, come on down to Haunted Films, where we carry the widest assortment of demon-possessed Super 8s, VHSs, and MP4s in the world. Get back that feeling of entertainment jumping out at you through the screen. See us on the corner of Mulholland Drive and Elm Street. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
Just took a stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Bryce Hanson.
And I'm David Day.
Welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Check out our website at horrormovietalk.com. There you'll find links to all of our social media. And we just started our Facebook group, and I feel dumb for not having started that sooner.
Dude, it blew up so quickly. I was inundated with alerts.
Yeah.
More so than just with Bugsy.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's triple.
Right.
Now it's like Bugsy times 3.
Right. We post new episodes every Wednesday. And this episode, I'm not going to beg for Apple Podcast ratings because we reached our goal of 200. I think we're at 217 now.
Just so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just so pretty.
I'm just a happy camper.
So,
Rocking and a rolling.
thanks for everyone that left a rating. But we do want to plug our new voicemail number, the new voicemail number.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Because we're going to use a number that we can both listen to the voicemail.
Switch it up on you.
So the new number is 682-253-4468. That number again is 682-253-4468.
Does that spell anything?
It spells 682-253-4HMT.
Does it really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I would want
So if you forget the last 3 numbers, we got you covered. Remember HMT for Horror Movie Talk.
So all you got to remember is 682-253-4.
Yes.
You just remember that as those numbers and then put HMT on the end.
Right. You want to know how long it took me to find a number that spelled out anything?
Yeah, I don't.
Took a while.
Yeah, I just try and look for ones that have the most of the same number.
Right.
If there's a bunch of 7s, just go with all the 7s.
Right.
I would want it to spell out ass, titties. Ass and titties. That.
We got a great show today. We're reviewing a many times recommended movie, and I keep thinking that I've seen it before, and I have
too.
not.
Yes.
I have not seen this movie.
As it turns out, I just saw Insidious and thought, that's Sinister and Insidious.
Right. Exactly.
And so I was just like, well, I've seen that.
Turns out Sinister is a different movie than Insidious.
Completely different. It's the training day of Insidious.
I have a description of Sinister as if the Crow and the nun from the Conjuring universe had a baby.
Oh, yeah. No,
It
well,
would be Sinister.
it's a lot more simple than that, really. If you're a metalhead, you just, you go, oh, well, there's Dark Throne. There they are.
Okay.
There's a black metal, a black metal band. Insert whatever it is.
Is this a metal thing?
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about Sinister today. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry that you watched it, 5 being an average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good it transcends genre boundaries and it makes you cream in your pants. It has to do that to get a 10. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And then later on, we'll be reviewing our voicemail in a bit we like to call Horror Movie Talk.
Horror!
He's saying horror.
Horror. He's saying
he needs to enunciate.
yeah, he's
Horror.
right.
So we watched Shudder. We watched Sinister, and it was spooky scary.
New details today in the grisly murders of a local family found earlier this week.
I didn't want to move here.
We couldn't afford to live in the old house anymore. Plus, the new story I'm writing is here.
Is the story a good one this time?
I'm gonna write the best book that anybody's ever read.
I got a really good feeling about this.
You gotta be kidding me. Family hanging out. Barbecue 79. That's the family who lived here.
You think these are serial murders? I don't know. The first one I found dates back to the 60s.
The only link between all these cases is the symbol.
The symbol is associated with a pagan deity named Bagul. He consumes the souls of human children.
I have never been onto something this big before.
Early Christians believed that Bagul actually lived in the images themselves and that they were gateways into his realm. Children exposed to the images were especially vulnerable to Bagul's abduction.
Sweetheart, what are you doing?
Painting. I wanted to paint her picture.
Who are you talking about?
Stephanie. She used to live here.
What's the matter? What's happened?
Get the kids, pack the car. We have to leave here now.
Spooky scary. So Sinister is available for streaming on Netflix right now. You can check it out there. I think they have Sinister 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch them back to back. Sinister is the story of author Ellison Oswalt moving to a new town to research his next true crime novel. His wife, son, and daughter make up the most passive-aggressively unsupportive family in the world. Unbeknownst to Ellison's family, they have moved into the house of the family whose deaths his book will be based on, which is a bold move on his part.
Yeah.
I love a lot of this movie forecasts like everything from the very beginning of the movie, and that's one of them where she's like, "Don't tell me we moved like two blocks away
down from the house that this took place in," and he's like,
"Absolutely not."
Okay. Technically, we did not move 2 houses away from the house that it happened in. We actually moved into it. Yeah. But he doesn't say we actually moved into it. He's just like, they're there.
Yeah. Well, it prefaces that with the cop saying, I can't believe what you did. This is in poor taste.
Yeah, he goes,
so you're like,
this whole thing, this being pointing to the house, is in really poor taste.
Yeah. So it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
That you're like into the house.
Oh, it's the house. And then he looks in the backyard and it's confirmed.
Right. Which would have been a nice thing to hold closer to the vest for a little longer. But is it closer to the vest or closer to the chest?
I mean, it's
basically the same thing, but I don't know which is more.
I think the vest
prevalent.
Yeah. Prevalent.
You think vest?
I think vest sounds better off your
listeners. Leave comments about whether it's closer to the chest or closer to the vest. Sinister
News, weather, traffic on the hour.
Sinister is a serviceable, average horror movie. It heavily forecasts its twist from the very beginning in a whatever you do not push that button sort of way. I can see why people like this movie and keep bringing it up to us. It's got a distinctive dark tone while still being very approachable for mainstream audiences. Like I said, it's like if The Crow had a baby with the nun from The Conjuring. There were a couple effective jump scares and attempts to create believable relationships and stakes, but none of them really, but there's never really a moment that will keep this movie from melding with countless other horror movies in your head, in my opinion. Like, is it distinctive enough to where it's unjustified that this melded with Insidious?
For me, it's distinctive enough in the wrong ways.
Right.
Yeah. This movie did things that made me go, hey, fuck you, movie. Like, really, fuck you. The execution in a lot of different ways fell flat for me.
There's a little bit of like
let me tell you, this movie is as dark as it fucking gets. Like, just visually speaking, you can't see shit for most of this movie. It's so goddamn intentionally dark.
Yeah.
Constantly, I was asking Carrie, what is going on? What do you know what just happened? She's like, I can't see shit.
Yeah, watch this on a high contrast TV. Maybe spring for the Blu-ray just so you can see stuff, because that compression probably does not help things on Netflix.
You gotta, this is a movie where if you want to see anything, you gotta fiddle with the contrast on your TV, and that's number one. And then
that reminds me of why my mom doesn't like the Dark Knight Returns. That it's a dark movie.
Lots of people say that.
It's a dark movie, and I said, "Oh yeah, it's pretty intense." She's not. Literally everything is very dark.
I couldn't see
there's not enough light.
The parts of the movie. Yeah. See No Evil in Cleveland said that same thing of The Dark Knight, or of those that Batman series. Yeah, and then the other thing that this movie does is I don't appreciate the exploitation feel of the first third of it. It's really fucking exploitive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the rest of the movie
it does not live up to
it doesn't live up to the snuff films, basically, that are in the snuff films are like super dark and like disturbing, and then the rest of the movie is like
light and easy.
As long as we're not watching snuff films, right. I'm okay.
Yes. Yes, there was a feeling of relief as soon as I was not watching a goddamn snuff film.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, well. And that's not how you want your movies to end.
Yeah.
And so and then the end was just piss poor. It's like it just petered out into nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like the ending. It's a little better than any number of routes that you could take,
I guess.
But anyways, that being said, all of that considered, Ethan Hawke offers up an excellent performance in this movie, especially when he starts going kind of super anxious crazy.
Yeah, he was. You know, he was
when he gets really on edge.
Ethan Hawke's a brilliant actor,
right.
and you know, to be honest, I didn't mind any of the acting in this movie. In fact, there was one scene that we'll get to in the spoilers that it's not really a spoiler, but it's like it isn't really sold, or it does not feel authentic at all. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what that'll be.
Yeah.
I liked his son. He was a good actor. He had some parts that really disturbed me, and then also the deputy who's from Generation Kill. He's like the Jersey kid from Generation Kill.
Yeah, he's also Ziggy in The Wire season 2.
Yeah,
and also he's in It Chapter 2.
Yes, he is.
He's Chapter
Eddie 2. All grown up.
Yeah, Eddie Cochran. What? Something like that.
Yeah. I do like him as an actor too, and he was like maybe the second best part of this movie. So
yeah. No, wait, which one? Well, I'm sure I'll be corrected on which character in It he is.
I'll find out for you.
So anyways, I think the ending was actually slightly better than expected. And what do you give this as a score?
I'm sitting at a pretty strong 4 for this one.
Yeah?
It really irritated me. Just because I feel like the premise was good and it was wasted. Like, that first part was so weirdly disturbing. Don't get me wrong. I didn't like it, but I wasn't supposed to like it.
Right.
And so when it didn't deliver on it, I was just like, so you just made me sit through that horrible, like, now I have that in my head for nothing? For like this, like, you know, like when you see, you know, a porno with a guy and he's jacking off into a girl's face.
I'm listening.
You know, and you want those big, thick, ropey, white, creamy loads.
Right.
Big, hefty loads. And then when it's just like a little.
Just like a dribble.
Yeah, a dribble. You're just like, what the fuck is that? And that's what this was. It was a dick dribble.
Okay. Well, I chose to be a little more generous. I think it's a slightly above average horror film. I think it's worthy of note. It's not like a tentpole thing or not something that I'm going to really guide people to, but I think it's not a waste of time. So I give it a 6 out of 10.
I mean, yeah, it's just how it strikes you. And this is another thing that's kind of fun about like running a horror movie review podcast or any movie review podcast is you start to, I mean, we've said this many times, but it's worth saying over and over again is like everything strikes everybody completely fucking different. Some people are coming at you over your score for host from last week.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but also I get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, it works differently for different people for different reasons.
Yeah, I realized how much, I mean, one of the things you realize as a, you know, professional reviewer like we are, is that it's way more subjective than even like you reasonably expect.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think I'm pretty smart and like, yeah, it's all subjective, but really there's some things that you can say are objective about quality in filmmaking. And
even those are subject.
It still doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. I still am inconsistent with my own scoring from past movies and with definitely with general consensus. It's an impossible task, but I stand by it. And I think I've narrowed down the reasons why I liked Host so much. I stated a lot of them, but really, I think the fact that I watched it on my computer screen, at night alone, and we're right in the middle of the quarantine. I use Zoom all the time, and then I just was in the right mood for it. All those things got it a couple more points.
The stars aligned for you.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, I had preconceived notions going in.
Yeah.
And I had expectations, and they didn't quite live up, and so that made me angry, and blah, 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 blah. Eddie Kaspbrak.
Okay.
From It Chapter 2. That's who, that's, and his actual, the actor's name is James Ransone.
Is Eddie Cochran? Is that the O.J. Simpson lawyer? Or what's
that's,
Cochran?
Cochran.
I can't remember his first name now. So that's our score.
I mean, you just have to remember caller 6 from a couple episodes ago.
Guys, I just wanted to say that I agree with David when it comes to your review of Alien.
It goes on that way, but but you know, some people agree with me, some people agree with you, and some people think we're both idiots.
I just like to troll you with Aliens and say it's not a horror movie. It's my favorite thing.
Oh man, we should tell people shirts.
Yeah, we want to direct you to our shop on horrormovietalk.com/shop, I think.
Yep.
And we got new stickers, and we got our first t-shirt. We got a logo tee for you.
It's a goddamn beautiful looking shirt. I was worried about how it would turn out.
Yeah. It's
not worried anymore.
Fantastic.
The quality of the cotton is perfect.
Yeah.
And then the screen print itself is thick. Real thick, white, ropey loads of screen printing.
Of ink.
that will obviously last a long time. It is top tier shit.
Yeah.
And I've got my dresser fucking full of shirts now. I have no more room to put shirts in.
Well, as of this episode, I would not be surprised if we're sold out of several sizes.
Oh, for sure we will be. Yeah, you have to get moving on this shit.
Yeah, because we posted on the Facebook group and a lot of people expressing lots of interest in buying them, which we'll see how many actually buy. But I think like the popular sizes will sell out of quick. So we got a unisex version and a women's version of both black and red.
Don't listen, ladies. There is not as many ladies who listen to this podcast as there are men. But we went, because I am so sure that because of what I have seen of our lady fans, I am certain you guys will not make me regret my decision of going 50-50 on the unisex shirts or the male shirts and the female shirts. Women, please prove me right on this one, because you guys have been so supportive of us and so outspoken that I was like, we gotta go to bat for the ladies. We just gotta.
Right. And if the women's size is sold out, you can still buy the unisex. If you're
yeah. And they're both. Yeah, my wife has both.
So yeah, check out Horror Movie Talk Shop. And also, I'm amazed that we haven't. I know this is annoying that we're talking about our shop and begging for money, but we're pretty excited about the merch we have. I cannot believe that no one has bought the Exorcist sticker yet.
I can't either. Not one person has bought the.
Someone's got to buy the shirt and the Exorcist sticker. That's like, I'm wondering if people are holding out, because the Exorcist sticker is probably the coolest looking sticker we've ever had. Yeah. Designed by Dustin Goebel, and he like finished it off in a pinch so we could get like the full head.
If you guys
of Linda Blair.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning that if you buy anything off of our shop that was designed by Dustin, aside from our logo stuff, you will be supporting Dustin as well.
Yeah. Other ways you can support the podcast, just really quickly, you can buy or rent any movie or product on Amazon if you click through the button in the top of our website to Amazon. Also, please check out, as we just mentioned, Dustin Goebel. He's a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Contact him at DGOEBEL00. That's at DGoebel00 on Instagrams. Make your artistic dreams come true. One of our listeners, after what was it that they mentioned? I think we showed them the sticker, the Exorcist sticker, and they're like, how can I buy this without they mentioned like some, I can't remember the context of it.
It's irresponsible of you to sell something that fucks so hard without also providing some sort of protection for me.
Yeah. So he came up basically with the idea of Dustin Goebel / Teflon Dick branded condoms.
Right.
Which
is a brilliant idea.
Assuming
we can get Dustin.
I ran it by Dustin. Not a huge fan, but I think we could, mostly because I had like his profile picture like on it.
Right. Yes.
But I mean, we could get around Dustin. He can't sue us if we just say it's DG. D.G Teflon Dick condoms.
Well, I don't want to make Dustin mad.
No, I guI don't.
No.
But
I can't.
Teflon Dick condoms might come. See, I also ran it by him and he said like, well, I mean, I don't use them. I go raw dog.
Right.
And obviously. So it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe he's not the best like
endorsement
or like mascot.
Right.
For condoms, because
maybe
his dick is naturally Teflon and his diseases fall right off of it.
Well, no, but I mean, but that's the gold standard, right?
Yeah, but that's what you want for your dick.
Right.
And you can't just make your dick Teflon.
Right.
Like, number one, that's like a very expensive procedure and could probably mangle your manhood.
Oh.
For the rest of your life. So, I mean, you could get Teflon Dick condoms. Yeah.
And
just ease on there in there. You can fuck hard.
Man,
and
there was an earlier
avoid diseases.
There was a very early episode of Horror Movie Talk where we ran an ad for a company that was something Soviet bloc condoms or something like that. Yeah, they were. They weren't the best.
Surprisingly, you can buy custom printed like condom wrappers. Relatively easy.
Yeah.
It would be really, well, anyways. Well, I mean, check out our merch store. Maybe eventually there will be some Teflon dick condoms. I can't guarantee it, though.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, how many people would actually want?
Yeah, that would be a premium item. Yeah. We were also thinking about HMT branded butcher knives.
Right.
But that would have been like a one-off thing and sold it for ridiculous amounts of money to justify it.
Yeah, it would be
limited edition.
Limited edition. We could sign it or something like that.
All right, enough talk about merch.
We could get those. We could get like HMT branded edible underwear. Yeah.
Sabrina, don't just stare at it. Eat it.
You'd have to tell them to eat it.
Or HMT branded Tums. Like, get rid of that gas, you know?
What?
Or always Belgian. Doesn't that help with burping?
No. I don't know. Maybe. I've never taken... I don't take drugs.
All right, let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. So yeah,
I had to take my shirt off before we started.
Yeah, now you got to put it back on.
Put it back on now.
Yeah,
you were right. That thing just
it is. I keep that vent closed at all times because it is a
chilly,
like a blizzard inside this room.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what do you got to say about Sinister?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, there's a lot of mood in this movie. The kids would call this big mood horror, right?
I don't know.
Like the kids say. It starts out with a Geiger counter sound, so you know it's going to be dangerous. There's a lot of, like, the sound design in this is kind of weird. It's very much spooky sounds.
Yeah, it's like a cat walking across the inside of a piano.
Yeah,
it's like
and
bling,
like
bling, bling, bling.
Like you said, and the set design. I mean, it's very much Spooky House Syndrome with the set design. Very dark. Like when they were at the dinner table, it really reminded me of Hereditary.
Yeah,
because it's very like looks like it has mood lighting from a 1970s. Bar.
This was
overhead.
the darkest damn house on the planet Earth. I don't know how they selectively lit all the walls.
I love how
none of the interior of the room.
All right. Here's a question. This only happens in horror movies. Who goes out in the middle of the night, wandering their halls with a flashlight?
I do not know.
Doors are closed. Turn on the fucking hall light.
Yeah.
It's just turn on the light.
Yeah. I mean, what are you doing?
I don't know. Maybe the previous murdered family just took all the light bulbs with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Why didn't I even think
when do
of
you
that?
ever use a flashlight in your house? Even in an attic, you're going to have a light bulb, right?
It's a little bit more questionable with it.
A little bit more questionable, but houses built after the 1950s, like, you're going to have a lone light bulb up there.
I mean, technically, I think it's scarier to have the lone light bulb, right? I'm dead serious in terms of set design for a horror movie.
Right.
What's scarier, seeing a pitch black attic where you can't see anything, aka Sinister, or having a single light that lights things from one angle all the way around? And so there's tons of shadows. There's tons of, you got boxes in the way that there's a shadow, I don't know. Selective lighting is better than pitch black where you literally can't see what's going on.
Yeah. The other part about the sound design that was a little distracting for me is that he's watching the first. All right, so let's set it up. So they moved into this house.
Wait a minute. No, you've missed the very first scene, the opening scene.
The opening scene is probably the most impactful. So it just opens with a home movie, like a Super 8 home movie, and a whole family of four. You assume it's a whole family.
Yeah.
Of four, mom, dad, two kids. They're standing underneath a big old tree branch with nooses around their necks and hoods on. David's got to dial in the AC for himself.
It is chill.
Man, you're worse than my wife.
How so?
Just swinging temperature. Are you going through menopause? You getting hot flashes?
No, I don't think so.
So
just shot a bunch of ropey loads.
They're under the tree, and then on the opposite side of the tree, a big old branch falls, and you realize that there's kind of like a pulley system.
And it's all kind of going in real slow-mo.
Yeah, and the tree branch on the other side falls down, and a rope is tied to it, and then it lifts up the family
by their necks.
Until they are dead. And it's pretty subtle because you see from behind the tree, like one of those tree saws is thrown off to the side, and you realize, I had to rewind it like a couple times, and I realized, like, okay, from the beginning there's a saw that's sawing into this branch,
right? And
I didn't even notice that it was there or the movement until after the tree branch fell. I was like looking at the people hanging there and expecting some kind of movement or something.
Yeah,
and they're just standing there.
It's real. It's a fucked up way to start a movie.
Yep.
And the first third of this movie is all of that.
Yeah.
It's just real stuff you don't want to see so much.
Yeah, and then it jumps to Ethan Hawke's character moving into a house, the house where the murder house, the murder house. Moving into this house and revealing that he's an author of true crime, and he had a book a couple books ago that was a huge bestseller and made him famous, and he's always chasing that dragon now. And apparently the cops don't like him because he wrote how corrupt they were in a couple of these books.
Yeah, in the movie.
Yeah, in the movie. Yeah, movie cops are corrupt.
Right.
So
yeah, these cops were sitting outside his house, and they were like,
they're good old boy cops.
Yeah, but
definitely.
But the deputies that were there were like, I was thinking of getting his signature on my book, and the sheriff shows up and he's like, are you fucking joking me? Get the fuck out of here.
I wonder how many cops actually read true crime. Like, I think it'd be like
yeah,
the person that works at Baskin and Robbins, they probably don't eat ice cream ever. Like they got their fill of it.
I think that's probably. I don't
talk to anyone that has worked at Baskin Robbins or an ice cream place.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Imagine associating the taste.
I think a more apropos example would be like somebody who works at Taco Bell eating Taco Bell all the time. Because there's nothing like overwhelmingly delicious about Taco Bell, but ice cream.
First of all, I disagree. Second of all, I stand by my example because it is one of the most delicious things in the world, and it can become not desirable because you associate it with work.
I just can't imagine that. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
I'm telling you, if anyone within the sound of my voice has worked at Baskin Robbins or Cold Stone.
Have you?
No, I've known a couple people that work there, and they're just like, the first question you ask them is like, do you get free ice cream? They're like, ugh. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it was great the first couple weeks, and then you're just like, well, I'm just going to gain a ton of weight, and I've had everything so many times that it's just, why bother?
I'm salivating so heavily, I can't even hear you. I just want some ice cream.
I know. Ice cream is my weakness. Man. My mom just brought back these ice cream bars that only, to my knowledge, exist in Utah and places other than Washington and Oregon because they don't exist here. They're called Creamies. Have you ever had a Creamy before?
I'm sensing a trend with this episode. They take a popsicle stick. I've never had an ice cream creamy before.
They take a popsicle stick and put some thick, ropey loads of ice cream.
I mean, I guess I'm a pretty sick guy.
Anyways, I'll give you one of these. My mom brought like a metric ton of these. She filled up an entire like cooler full of these ice cream bars and had to like duct tape the tape of the top of the cooler so it didn't pop open.
Right. Wow.
And we got like half of them.
Wow.
And they're fantastic. They're like, I had one when we'd always go to Utah to visit grandparents and stuff. And they're just the best. Anyways, moving on from ice cream. So they move in. He looks out and he sees that the branch is still sitting there.
Yeah.
That got cut down.
Yeah.
You'd think it'd, fall off or someone would just cart that branch
maybe
away.
when they put the house up for sale, they're like, maybe we should take care of the actual murder scene. Like,
yeah, maybe we should.
Fuck it.
It's like, yeah, but it's still holding on with like a 1/4 of an inch worth of twig.
Let's hold out.
That's too much bother to push that over.
I think you're forgetting about the crime scene author market.
Right.
They're just dying to get in this house, and frankly, that'll add some authenticity to the whole thing.
Right. So that's questionable whether a branch would last. It's unclear of how long it's been since the family was killed.
Yeah.
We had a patron
I know
that left because of our belches.
I know that.
Probably mine.
Yeah, probably.
I know that we've voted for it in the past. I know we've talked about it ad nauseum. But
it's the exception that proves the rule, Bryce.
I just feel guilty now.
Well,
it's every time I about belch, I
you
think
can't please all the people.
One of these patrons is going to leave.
If you stop belching, there's going to be people who leave because they're like, "Where's the belches?" And then who will have egg on their face?
All right. Can we talk about how comfy those sweaters look on Ethan Hawke?
Ethan Hawke is a sweater model.
Yeah.
He's a man made to wear sweaters.
Is that like, maybe it's just the uniform of an author?
Right.
You got to have a comfy sweater.
I have a comfy sweater, and I'm not exactly an author.
Yeah.
I'm not really a writer anymore. Just whatever I am.
So I just had to bring up comfy sweaters because I was jealous.
So comfy looking.
All right. So I mentioned it at the beginning, but this is the most the thing that pulls me out of the movie so much is how unsupportive his family is to his dreams or to his job. From all appearances, he's the only breadwinner in the family.
Not only the only breadwinner, one of the most impressive breadwinners I've ever seen. Like, I mean, when we actually get to see his other house, it's like a goddamn mansion. And it's like an estate.
Yeah, and they're talking about how poor they are right now. In the later part of the movie, he like says, "We've never been this poor. I need this to happen." And you step back and you're like, well, wait a minute. They still haven't sold their other house, so they're paying 2 mortgages. I don't know. I don't think you'd be able to pay 2 mortgages if you're really poor.
A semi-successful author who's had many bouts on, daytime television, and he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Poor is such a relative thing. Right?
Yeah, but anyways, his family is like...
There's poor, and then there's the people who can't afford the extra OR at the end. There's just po people.
Yeah, lots of the members of the family, I think each one individually, in turn, expresses displeasure with, like, how much of a failure he is, pretty much.
Fuck you, Dad. It's like, whoa, hey, wait,
it's
what?
Like, why do we have to move here? Well, I'm writing a new book. Yeah, but why did you have to move here? Couldn't you just write something else?
He's like, I don't think you get how this works. I chose this thing. This is the something else.
And then, yeah, he's talking about how he needs another hit. That's like kind of the only real development or the only real theme outside of snuff films in this movie is that Ellison's career is on the line because he needs another hit.
Yeah,
and he craves fame.
There's an interesting character build effort happening in this movie where they do a decent amount of work to show that Ethan is an imperfect person. Ethan Hawke's character is an imperfect person because He says he's an author for the love of the story and for getting
justice,
for getting justice, and not at all for his own fame, right? And then there's these scenes where he'll be sitting there watching these these videotaped VHS interviews that he's clearly self-recorded or recorded himself of him on TV, like and he'll watch them and he's like reliving his fame days where he's like, I'm not here for the money, that kind of thing. So there's an interesting effort going into like setting up the dichotomy of him being an imperfect person grappling with his own sort of problems.
Yeah. So,
and that was one of the most interesting parts of the movie to me. I was like, he's becoming a character now.
Yeah, it's okay. This gets to my least favorite scene of the movie, or the one that feels the most unreal, was the conversation he has with his wife in bed about this, where she goes, he's talking about how sorry, I just had a little bear pen. Excuse me. He says, I need another hit. And then her response is, what if that was your 15 minutes? Like, what if that was it, honey? And not in like an upset way or like a digging way, but literally like they're trying to sell it as, I'm super supportive. Like, I want to support you in your dreams. But what if...
Let's temper your expectations a little
What
bit.
if that was a fluke and you're not actually that good?
Right.
And then and then, so that's, first of all, it's a little like, you're going to sell this as like a supportive relationship at the beginning of the movie that supposedly will devolve, but you're starting out with like, yeah, I'm supportive, but you really going to do that good again? And then it goes to the next, like a couple lines later, she goes, if this goes sour, I'm leaving you, basically. She's like, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to take the kids. And
she doesn't actually say that, does she? Like,
she says, if this goes bad,
but in earnest,
I'm going to take the kids and go live with my sister.
Yeah, but does she mean it in earnest, or is it a joke? Because Carrie and I will say this shit to each other all the time, and it's meant, it gets each other laughing.
It's in earnest.
Wow,
because
I don't remember that.
Because he says, yeah, that makes sense. And this is like,
I don't remember that.
I'm like, what? Like, this conversation is not realistic at all. Because number one, you care about your spouse.
Yeah.
And you're not going to cut them down in the most extreme way of like, that thing that you have fame for and you identify yourself.
That's why I'm here.
Where you value yourself.
That's why you got access to this pussy, bro.
Maybe you're just not good.
And also, if you aren't, bye.
Maybe you should do something else. And if it doesn't work out, this whole thing is in jeopardy.
You can say goodbye to this, Michael.
and all the...
Say goodbye to these.
All the reactions from Ellison are... Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Well, it's
it's gonna go fine.
It's potentially a writer or a storyteller who doesn't have a real strong grasp of relationships, who wants to set up stakes, in a relationship, and they're like, well, bitches be shopping, so I guess we just gotta make this bitch a real bitch.
I cannot imagine a more weighty and dramatic conversation than saying, if this thing does not happen, I am going to take your children and take them away from you.
Oh,
so I can live with my family away from you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, I understand. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would like to. Boy, is there any room for debate on this, sweetie? Is it? Would you say there is?
It's either they.
No,
I don't understand how you can approach that scene and make it not like the most extreme, like gut wrenching And
well, good night.
Because his response, the line is like, it's not going to go sour.
Yeah.
And the way he delivers that line is he just leans into her ear and says, it's not going to go sour. Like, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Not like, if I was reading that on the page, I would be like yelling it.
Look,
it's not going to go sour.
Well, if it happened in my bed, I'd be like, you can get out the fucking house right now, bitch. Go. You're a trifling whore.
Whore.
All right. Carrie, look forward to your comments on that.
She gets it. She gets me.
So that scene really drew me out. And the rest of the movie is really him. He discovers this box of films that wasn't in like the crime scene photos. It just appears out of the blue.
Yeah, you hear a big bang in the attic, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And by the way, get used to that.
Right.
And then he heads up there and he finds a box full of tapes and a little Super 8 projector.
Right, and he writes down like, "Why did the murderer come and put this back in the attic?"
Yeah. Oh no,
that was a little one. I'm sorry. Excuse me. And so he watches the first film, and it's what we see in the opening shot of the movie. And
yeah, it's the family being hung by their necks in the tree.
And it's kind of a fake out to where you go, I mean, obviously he has to call the police now.
Right.
And in a shitty horror movie, they'd be like, I'm not going to call the police. I'm going to keep this all to myself. But he does call the police, but then he decides to keep it all to himself.
What are you saying? Are you saying this is a shitty horror movie?
I'm not saying that. Because it sets it up that police don't like him because he talked about police corruption and might have been wrong about some things.
Yeah.
So he's got this box of snuff films, and the rest of the movie is basically him going back and forth between walking down the hallway with flashlights and getting faked out by scares or by real scares, and then going back and watching more snuff films.
The snuff films really took it out of me. It was unpleasant. I don't know if I've said that yet.
Yeah.
But they were not tame.
Yeah, that lawnmower man, like that one. I jumped at that one.
Yeah, I was upsetting. I did not like. I mean, they were all so depressing.
Yeah,
they were just so real feeling. I didn't like any of them.
I mean, I don't even know if they were necessarily real feeling, but it was like it felt like it was breaking the fourth wall of like the horror movie writer or director just saying, "I'm going to make you watch this. You movie viewer, I'm making you do this," and Ethan Hawke's character is basically our stand-in inside the movie.
Yeah,
he's like pained to watch it, and he's wincing.
He's drinking,
but then also copying all of them onto his computer.
Right.
So,
yeah, pretty strong imagery and suggestions in these. Nothing, it doesn't get like gory or anything, but like. The implication is that there are people burning to death in a car, a family of people who love each other burning to death in a car.
Right. And there's
Jesus fucking Christ.
Because it juxtaposes like family home videos of them like frolicking in a field or like playing in a pool or all that stuff.
Really
and then
fucked up part of this.
And then snap cut to murder. Mm-hmm. Violent and murder most foul. And then it just keeps going on with those. I think is there 4 or 5?
Yeah, I think there's 4 murders that happen, and
they're
he's the 5th one.
They're all very similar. Like all the family members except one is murdered, and so that's kind of a question. Where does that other
girl,
boy go? One of the things that kind of pulled me out was in that first movie. It starts
the one with the tree.
Mm-hmm. It starts with the film and like the family videos. And it's got this super gloomy soundtrack.
I know.
Like super like gloomcore
soundtrack.
And it's it's within the whole movie. It's not supposed to be like, you would call it diegetic. It's like it's happening in the film itself, so the character can hear it too.
Right.
As opposed to just being the soundtrack of the movie.
Right.
With that first film, it's like, sounds like it's part of the film, which is weird. Like, what? Who did this family hire out to?
That struck me as well.
To score their super gloomy, mostly happy family movies.
Yeah, it was weird. There was another one where there's a bunch of people tied to a bunch of chaise lounges that are on the edge of a pool, and all the lounges have like bricks of concrete attached to them, and then they all just get pulled into the pool one by one. It's like, gee, good God.
There's a couple fake outs. He's wandering the dark halls, and then his son is randomly in a moving box and has a night terror.
That was really the piece of this movie that hit for me. I was like, what the fuck? That was really upsetting, because it was a small box. Like, in your mind, you're thinking, what the fuck? Like, you're like, okay, well, nothing's in that box. Like, I know how jump scares work, and this is just the fake out before the jump scare. No. No. This is a 13-year-old child, like, coming unraveling, in a weird way out of a box, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. Lots of scorpions and snakes found in the attic.
There were scorpions?
There was a scorpion.
Of course I couldn't see it. Of course.
There was a great conversation between Ellison and the deputy played by Ziggy.
Deputy so-and-so?
Deputy so-and-so, where he's talking about like how he was hearing like footsteps in the attic. And he's like,
snakes don't have feet.
But there was no one there. And it's like, well, I saw like a snake there. And he's like, a snake. But snakes don't have any feet.
So you're wrong.
And he's like, well, I mean, also like a scorpion. He's like, yeah, they have feet, but I don't think
you're going to hear them stepping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
He played that deputy so-and-so very well.
Right.
And to be honest with you, if I'm being very embarrassingly honest, I turned to Carrie about a little past a third of the way through this movie, and I was like, it's deputy so-and-so. He's the missing child. And
that would be a pretty good twist.
And so I built this movie. I was like, this is going to be great, because this kid murdered his family. The one thing that all of these murders had in common was one kid was never accounted for, but the whole rest of the family was murdered. And so it kind of started looking like, oh, well, the kid in each of these families was pushed to murder their family, which turns out to be true. But I thought Deputy so-and-so is one of these kids, and he's the reason it's happening in this town. And so the reason he's acting so interested in Ethan Hawke's family is because he's here to do the thing.
Nope.
No.
It wasn't that.
I did want it to be that.
It was a spooky, scary Brandon Lee.
Bagul.
Bagul.
A ghoul. Ghouls.
Oh, man, do I have that one?
Adam Driver in...
ghouls.
Ghouls.
Damn, I don't have it pulled up.
Ghoul. Bagul.
I just listened to a audiobook about this unknown to me, like I think the title is basically the most meticulous serial killer of the 21st century. And after watching this movie and listening to that book, it doesn't sound like murder is actually that hard.
Oh, no.
To get away with.
I'm sure it's not. Because I've contemplated it many, many times.
Like the meticulousness of this guy is like, no, he just kind of plan, okay.
Yeah.
But he'd like walk out in the open with his victim and just say, well, don't scream or anything or else I'm going to kill you. So, if you want to convince people to be murdered, just tell them what to do.
Yeah,
tell them what to do.
Now take your pee-pee out.
And then just run away. That's it.
Yeah.
So all these kids could
Run
just
away,
murder their
yeah.
family and then just run away.
Well, I mean, and it really speaks to, well, it speaks to more than just this. I was going to say, it really speaks to, people are so worried about serial killers, and there's an aspect of them to be certainly worried about. Do not fraternize with serial killers. But, they become, typically, or many of them become, they're messed up in the head. And so they end up leaving calling cards or getting, they want something, they want to, but the real fucked up ones are the ones you've never heard of and don't know anything about. And there's plenty of those.
Yeah. This is one of those where it was like this book that I read. There's a murder in Alaska, and, they just threw pretty much sheer luck, they found this guy in Texas.
Wow.
And they had like nothing on him, but like Texas had, like in terms of probable cause.
Yeah.
It was just all circumstantial stuff. Like he was driving a similar car. They didn't have like the license plate, but it looked similar enough, and it looked like there was some kind of items related to a younger girl or something inside, but they had literally nothing that pointed to this guy specifically killed this girl.
Okay.
And they take him in, and then pretty much he starts confessing.
Wow.
To all these murders, because he assumes that they have all this information on him from like the stuff that they took or the computers that they took. And really the first thing that he thought that they would know for certainty, they didn't actually know anything about. But he confessed to it, and then he just kind of, it cascaded from there. And
so apparently you don't even have to be smart.
Yeah. And so he's like, they calculated his, like, the trajectory of like all of his travels and how far he could travel away from the city that he flew into and back on the rental cars to see where he could like conceivably murder people. And it was basically Alaska, Washington, the entire eastern seaboard.
Wow.
Texas. Like, I mean, it's just like I think it was like 37 states.
Pretty prolific.
And he confessed to a ton of killings, and then he's like, well, that's just the U.S. So
look, you guys ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah. So let's bring the supernatural aspect of this whole thing in.
Right. So, Ethan's character, as he's researching, he calls up, oh, goddamn, I can't remember that actor's name now.
Oh, the James Ransom?
No. James Ransom is the deputy. The other, like, university professor is played by the guy that played Kingpin.
I'm looking it up right now. I'll get you.
Anyways, he calls this university professor, and he shows him some of these creepy symbols that are in all the videos. And the university professor's like, oh, yeah, that's Bagul.
Is it Michael Hall?
No.
Fred Thompson?
No. Vincent D'Onofrio. That's who it is.
Way down there.
Yeah.
Why is this?
The university professor played by Vincent D'Onofrio. Ethan's character shows him all of these symbols that's in all of the home videos. And
oh, you mean Bagul?
He's like, oh yeah, that's Bagul. Yeah, he's pretty obscure.
Hard to find.
He's the eater of children.
Yeah. So,
and then Ethan's character.
Why? What do you think you got here?
Ellison is like, eater? And then the best line delivery of the entire movie for me is, yeah, children.
Yeah.
He's like, eater? Yeah. Eater? Yeah, eater of children.
God damn, look at those hot children. They're physically warm because you're going to eat them. Right. You warm them up.
Right. And so you find out it's laid out very plainly that there's this Babylonian demon that lives through images and eats children.
Possesses people when you look at him. If you look upon an image of him or the symbology around him, you have some percentage chance of being possessed by him that goes up if you're a child.
Yeah, and he gets power by either through human sacrifice or by the literal consumption of children. You know.
Kids.
And so Bagul looks like the Crow.
Yes. Well, I mean, he looks like a black metal artist in Google Paint.
In Google Paint. If you use the melt function in it or something. Is this a metal thing?
Yes.
So the last half of the movie is basically Ethan Hawke going crazy. He plays it very well. And really like underlines how desperate he is and how he's like, this book is super important. And then eventually gets to the point where he's like, yeah, fuck this.
Time to go.
We're out.
I'm going to destroy all the pictures of this thing and then we're going to get out of here. And then he gets out of there. They head back to their old house.
And he's in his old house and then he's like, does something and then he starts like feeling woozy and he looks down in his coffee cup and he goes,
no, Deputy so-and-so calls him and he's like, dude, I'd put it together for you. Have you not figured it out yet? And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, Deputy so-and-so is like,
the very obvious answer from the very very beginning.
Deputy so-and-so says, oh, well, I mean, so every one of these families had lived in the previously dead family's house. So the thing that puts you at risk in this whole scenario is, have you lived in the house of a family that's been killed? And
you just did.
You just did that. So
the killer's probably coming after you.
Probably coming after you. Hey, can I still get that autograph? Click.
And so after that phone call, Ethan Hawke realized like, ooh, I'm pretty woozy. And he looks down at his coffee cup and it's filled with demon sperm. Oh no, ghost sperm.
Oh, baby.
Just a taste.
It's pretty thick.
And then he faints, and then, of course, his daughter comes and kills his whole family.
I thought that was so stupid. Why? There's nothing... That was so ineffective and boring. Like a little, oh, your kid's gonna kill your family. The kid? Really? I'm supposed to be scared of a 5-year-old girl?
I mean, it's pretty dark. The thing that was not super effective was like, it shows all the kids of the previous murders
running around
and
poking them on the shoulder.
We're so spooky. We're if you were a demon that ate children, would you really want all those children hanging around? Like, wouldn't you just eat them and get going?
Why children? What's the deal?
That's a good question.
Why?
That's a good question in general. Just why children?
Right. Wait.
Anyways, Sinister.
So the end kind of worked for you?
It worked. I mean, it was fine.
I didn't like it very much.
Everything was forecast so heavily that nothing was super surprising. The only thing that was a little interesting about it is that it went full dark. Like it didn't give any out. Even though there's a sequel, it's like, no, this is over.
Yeah.
So I guess that going into it, I knew that there was a sequel, so I assumed it would end in a more Conjuring-esque kind of way.
Yeah.
And it did not.
Do you like this or Conjuring more?
It's been so long since I've seen Conjuring. But
I like Conjuring a lot more.
I think I gravitate more towards Conjuring type stories anyway.
Yeah.
So would you recommend it for people to watch?
I mean, if there's a lane of person who I would recommend this to, and I'd know him when I saw him, I'd be like, you'd probably like Sinister.
I think if you like all the Conjuring movies and Insidious and like all that, like this would tack onto that pretty well.
This is pretty dark. Like this is like the.
It's definitely darker, but it's still within that kind of accessible realm.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, for some reason, it doesn't really sell the darkness in anything other than the snuff films, which is kind of hard to measure up to that.
Right.
When you're literally
watching. Do you think 8mm was darker than this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 8mm delved into like
child pornography and all.
Well, yeah, and just like, where are these videos coming from? Like, where's the market for this?
Right.
And you find it. You're like, he tracks down
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of 8mm the whole way through this movie, and I was like, I can't remember if that was more disturbing than this.
Isn't it crazy that 8mm was directed by the same guy that directed Batman and Robin?
Holy shit. Yeah, that's nuts.
Joel Schumacher directed 8mm and the worst of the Batman movies.
Yeah, now I got to look up that stuff. So that's Sinister.
It's on Netflix. You know, you don't have to spend any money. You can watch it.
It is rather long. It's like an hour and 55 minutes.
Yeah. So let's move on to horror movie talk.
Oh. I love that drop. Whores.
All right, let's go through some of these voicemails. We've gone through several. How many came since the last episode?
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
So 9 from Bugsy.
So our first caller that I'm going to play is Max Allen. You might remember
Maximus.
Yeah, you might remember Max. He's the guy who gave us our intro music.
Yeah.
So
Maximilian. Let's hear it.
Here's what Max has to say.
Hey guys, this is Max Allen calling from Rexburg, Idaho. Just wanted to give you a quick little update. A while back, I was going through a breakup, and you guys were really nice to me and helped me out. And David, specifically, on an episode, said that I would find my big titted goth chick to watch horror movies with. And I just wanted to let you know that I started dating a girl recently, and while she doesn't have big titties and she's not goth, she does watch horror movies with me.
Aww.
So yeah, just thought I'd give you that little update. Thank you guys for always being so nice to me and helping me out during hard times. Love you.
So she doesn't have
boobs, boobies, tits, titties, tiggle bitties, machines.
But that works. I mean, if you got, the couple that horror movies together.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Max, and and thank you for all that you've done for horror movie talk.
Yeah, Max is a great guy.
Yeah, he sure is. So this next caller is a close friend of mine. And one of our first patrons. This is Biggin.
Biggin, all right.
What up, horror movie talk? This is Brad Biggin, i.e. your first patron. And my question for you guys is, I want to know what horror movie is a 1 for each of you. I don't think I've heard one that is a 1 on the podcast, so I need to know which horror movie would you rank as a 1. And can I see some titties?
Just show me one titty.
Can I see one titty? Oh, girl.
Just show me one titty.
Yeah, I've seen so many terrible, awful full moon production movies.
Yeah.
That any one of those straight to video.
Give one that's
Totem.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
There's movies in here. Oh, and the horrible Dr. Bones. Both of those you will not be able to find on IMDb without considerable effort.
The one that comes to mind for me is a Kristen Stewart movie called The Messengers. And I fucking hate that stupid movie. It was one of the first dates I took Carrie on, and it made me look foolish. And it was bad. It was just bad. But the commercials for it were great. And I fucking hate that movie, The Messengers. So there's your ones.
See, that's why I'm skewed, because I don't think I can give any big budget production a 1.
If you saw The Messengers, you would.
All right.
Yeah. It's worse than Slenderman. Okay. So, here we go. Here's our next caller.
Hi. I'd like to talk to this, Wait, this isn't the right number? Shit. For a second, I thought this was Dead Meat Podcast. Why the hell would you freaking do this to me? You gave me the wrong number. You said that Dead Meat had a freaking voicemail. And so you're telling me it's these horror movie talk guys? I don't even know who the fuck they are.
So there's a caller who thought they were calling Dead Meat, which is a much bigger horror podcast than us. And they were clearly disappointed. I'm sorry. Sorry you got.
Sorry, nameless caller.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's. What's our next one?
Sounded kind of like Peter Griffin.
Yeah, a little bit.
What under 1 minute in length? No, I'm just kidding. My name's Angelica, and I'm from Vancouver. Just want to say you guys are doing awesome. I'm doing my best to promote you for Apple Podcasts to get those ratings up. Anyways, just wanted to tell you guys you guys are awesome. Make my day every Wednesday, and have a nice one. Bye.
That's Angelica, and she's from here.
Yeah, she's like literally down the street.
Yeah, down between your house and mine.
Yeah, she's like halfway.
I think I sent her some stickers or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I know this. I drive down this street.
Yeah. It's like right behind the Chevron or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Angelica, she's did I get that right? Angelica. Yeah. She's one of our patrons, and she's one of the people that really went the extra mile for helping us with Apple Podcasts. Her and Walter.
Yes.
And Kitty.
Yeah.
Several people, if I'm forgetting some of you, that told us that they're, really reaching out to like their friends and family and coworkers to get us over the top. We appreciate it because we got over 200, and it's going to be a really good look when we apply for Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it'll be great. Here's our next caller.
Drinking and Screaming Podcast. I really love your podcast. Thank you.
There's
another wrong call.
Yeah,
wrong number.
Here's one from another patron. This is Jason.
Hey, it's your patron, Jason, and for once I'm going to leave you a voicemail that's actually serious. I have an odd question. You know how the music industry, they have their, like, music awards, and you have, like, the Oscars, you have the Grammys, you have, like, just stuff like that. I was curious, if horror films were to have their own, like, award show, I know they did back in 1991 and 1992, they did one, and then they scrapped it after that. What would you name that award? Like, what do you think that award should be named after?
So, like the Oscars,
that's all I want to know.
Yeah,
Tonys.
What do you think?
I mean, Freddy's would be the easiest one.
I was going Screamies.
Screamies?
Yeah.
Well, later we'll have some Creamies after we cut the mics. Screamies. I mean, I think I like it when they're like names.
Like the Oscars?
Oscars, Tonys, Emmys.
The Jasons.
There's like Golden Globes, but it's always second chair.
Oh, the Mikeys. No?
The Michaels? The Myers? No, I stand by Freddy's. I think that would be a good one. I think that the horror movie award show that he's referring to was actually like either co-produced or hosted by Robert Englund. I know I remember when we were interviewing Robert Englund, I came across that there was some award show back then that lasted very shortly.
Here's another one from Jason.
It's your patron, Jason, again. I have another question. So, a while back on, I think it was Facebook or Twitter, you had a post that said, name the films that you think were the most get the fuck out of the house movies. And I'm surprised, now that I think back on it, I mean, a lot of people mentioned Amityville Horror. I was one of those people that mentioned it. A lot of people mentioned other paranormal activity like movies. I can't believe no one touched on what I believe right now is the best get the fuck out of the house movie is Arachnophobia.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
a really
House
good
full
point.
of fucking spiders
That's a pretty good
that
one.
just came out of nowhere. Get the
Also,
It goes on that way.
yeah, any Friday the 13th movie, like,
With Jason.
yeah, it's not like Jason really chases him that far.
Yeah, I think he's got a really good point. The arachnophobia, as soon as I heard that, I was like, that is a good point.
Right.
That house. But the problem with that house was it was infected the whole town, you know? But I mean, so you definitely wouldn't go in the house because that was like the dead center. And here is the last one. Here we go.
Yo, Bryce and David, it's your boy Josh K. Just want to call and let you know you're both a couple of dirty whores. Nah, I'm totally kidding though. You guys keep on doing what you're doing. Fucking hard.
That's Josh K. He's also a patron. Yeah, thank you everyone for calling the show and for giving us support and for memeing us quite expertly. We sure do appreciate it.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a patron to call. And
No.
we're not just selecting patrons. Like anyone that calls, we'll give you a listen.
I played all of them except for See No Evil contacted me one time with a personal question, so I called her back.
I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get 15 calls from Bugsy.
I am too. I don't know what happened.
Oh, man.
I don't know what happened.
Maybe we got off by one number, and there's some...
Oh, yeah, somebody else.
Poor soul in Vancouver that got
20
calls with verses about horror movie talk.
He's going to be recording a song. He's got studio time booked to record a horror movie talk song that we will be premiering on Horror Movie Talk in a couple of weeks whenever he gets it to us. So look out for that.
So again, if you want to call and leave a message, the number is 682-253-4468. So please do that. We'd love to talk to you on the show. This will be probably a pretty regular bit. That's it for today. I wanted to especially thank our new patrons since it's been a while since we recorded. So I want to thank our new patrons since the last time we recorded. We got Carson C., Drake M., Jackal P., and Mitchell B. all joined our Patreon.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. And you know, when are we going to start doing the extra stuff for Patreon? Because we're considering making more content. We make one podcast every week called the Afterpod where, you know, you can hear us talk about our lives, but I think
well, there's some stuff that I wanted to do for everyone. So I think we voted in Patreon, like what they would like the most. And the most voted for item was those Netflix parties.
Yeah.
So I think let's decide right now, what week of the month should we do those? I think if we chose fourth week of the month, we're going to do a Netflix party and just start planning it.
Yeah.
Because if we keep putting it off, it'll take forever. We could do.
Let's do the first week of every month.
Okay. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Maybe. I don't know if Saturdays. I don't like my daughter's birthday is coming up here, so I don't know what that looks like. Hey, does it have to be a Saturday? Well, anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll post it.
I know that the last time we had it, Kitty specifically requested a Saturday so she could.
Yeah, so that's my daughter's actual birthday, the 5th.
Well, we'd do it at night though. I guess for UK, I don't know when they'd have to do it.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay, let's do the 12th then.
Okay.
Let's say we're planning on doing a Netflix party on the 12th. We follow us on September. Follow us on September 2020. Follow us on Facebook. Join our Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter, and then we'll announce how to take part and the link there. I think there might be a limit on how many people can join, but I doubt we'll get up there. So thanks for patrons. Thanks for everyone that called in our voicemail. Again, support the show by going to our website, horrormovietalk.com, and clicking through the button to Amazon, the banner, if you're going to buy anything on Amazon. Check out our shop, all the new merch, and check out Patreon, where you can find some perks if you're a big fan of the show, some bonus content that you might like. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. We love you. Bye.
snake. I'm a snake. I'm a snake. I'm a snake. I'm a slithery little sneaky snake. I'm so slithery and sneaky because I'm a snake.